Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Writer's Infusion. My name is Susan, and I'm here with my fellow critiquers, Jen, Ed, Julie, and Dave. We do not have our writer with us, but we do have our writer's excerpt, so we are going to read this today. It's a short story excerpt, the first few pages, and it's called Folding Man, and Julie's going to read for us.
Folding Man. I was 6 years old the first time I saw someone fold up and disappear. It was on the Midway at the county fair on a perfect blue sky summer day in 1968. It was my first fair, and I was about as happy as a little kid could be. Then the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. 20 feet ahead, in the middle of the busy Midway, a bright crack appeared hanging in midair from just above the asphalt to a point higher than my dad's head. It was like someone had opened a door to a room on the sun. The crack existed, dazzling bright for only an instant, then it faded, leaving burning red after images in my eyes. I stood there, amazed and scared, staring at the spot where the light had been. The charged feeling got stronger. I started backing away, pulling on Mom's hand. I didn't want to be there anymore. "Peter, what's wrong, sweetie?" she asked. She and my father had both stopped walking when I had. She knelt beside me. Dad just stood there looking impatient and annoyed. I don't know how it was they hadn't seen the light, but since they were both looking at me, they didn't see the tall man ahead of us, the man eating funnel cake as he walked right toward where the light had been. I shouted, "No, stop!" In my 6-year-old heart, I knew if he walked where that line had been, something terrible would happen. Everyone around us turned and looked my way, even the man with the funnel cake. But he didn't stop walking. And when he reached the spot where the line had been, his mouth formed a small O as he suddenly flattened, like he'd walked into something immovable, and the rest of his body just kept going until he was as thin as a piece of paper. If he hadn't been at a slight angle, I wouldn't have been able to see him at all. Then, in the space of a second, his outer edges folded inward, once, then again, faster and faster, until he disappeared in a tiny flash of golden light. He was gone, and so was the charged feeling. I screamed again. I tried to explain, but no one believed me. No one else had seen anything. "You're overtired," Mom said. She ran her fingers through my buzz cut. "We probably should not have let you have so much cotton candy." Dad was pissed. He said it was all in my imagination. When I protested that I'd really seen something, that I wasn't making it up, he blew up and made us go home early. For several days, I tried to convince someone, anyone, that I'd seen something terrible. The only person who believed me was Dale, my best friend. I gave up. Eventually, even I believed it had all been a result of too much sugar. I forgot about it. The summer of 1980, Dale, my best friend, joined the Marines, and Gloria, my high school sweetheart, the love of my life, went off to Europe. Her parents said it was to broaden her horizons, but we both knew it was to get her away from me. On the plus side, I got admitted to MIT on an academic scholarship. Mom and Dad bought me a new Ford Pinto for graduation. Best of all, before she left, Gloria had made me a promise. "I'll be 18 when I get home, Peter. I'll be ready." At the time, we were snuggled up together on a blanket we'd spread out on Boston Common, enjoying one of the first warm days of spring, and our last ones together until she returned. "And that means?" "You know what I mean," she said, kissing me. "I'll come back a day early, and you can get us a hotel room, but it better be someplace nice." I saved all summer and made a reservation at the Omni Parker downtown. Gloria told her parents she'd be getting back late the next morning. In truth, she was scheduled to get into Logan at 10 p.m. We'd finally have a night all to ourselves. I'd even picked up some weed from a buddy of mine. The baggie was tucked in my back pocket. Things don't always go as planned. There was a strike in France and bad weather over the Atlantic. I was still waiting on her flight at 2 in the morning. All the kiosks and shops were closed up. I had about a dozen other people for company, all of them waiting with me outside customs on that one flight. I paced, too excited about seeing Gloria to sit quietly. I was getting more and more frustrated with the wait. Every minute longer it took for her to arrive was another minute I couldn't spend alone with her. She'd been so busy trying to see things on her last days in Europe that she hadn't had time to write her usual long letters. The last letter had been a hasty note, "Better not keep me waiting," and her itinerary. Then just before getting on the plane, she called, "I can't wait to see you. I love you," she said. In the background, I could hear them announcing the boarding of her flight. My plans for the evening had included a late dinner with Gloria, so I hadn't eaten, and I was ravenous. I went searching for a snack machine. I found one down a short corridor that ended in one of those ubiquitous authorized personnel only doors. The snack machine was tucked into a nook right beside the door. My joy at this discovery was short-lived. The machine hadn't been restocked after a long day of feeding hungry travelers. All the good stuff was gone. The only choices left were garlic and onion potato chips and pineapple chewing gum. No chance of a kiss if I ate those chips and pineapple gum, really? I gave up, went back to waiting with the others, still hungry. I must have dozed off, because I was startled awake by the announcement that Gloria's plane was landing. I suddenly realized I needed to use the facilities, so I dashed off for the restroom. I figured I had just enough time to get cleaned up a bit and get back before they started letting people off the plane. The first and closest restroom was being cleaned, so I had to run to the next one. I hurried things along as quickly as biologically possible, splashed water on my face, and ran back. The last few passengers were coming out of customs, meeting up with those waiting for them, heading for the exit. I didn't see Gloria. A couple minutes later, the flight crew came and walked past, and I realized I must have missed her. My heart sank. Did she already go and get a cab? Did she just assume I wouldn't be there because the plane was late? I peeked around the corner and didn't see her at any of the baggage carousels. A grandmotherly woman saved me. She must have seen my confused look and came over. "I'll bet you're the one that pretty young thing was looking for," she said. "Gloria? Did she leave already?" I was picturing the look of disappointment on my girlfriend's face. "Oh, no," the woman said. "I could tell she was looking for you. I told her you'd be right back. I think she went over to the snack machine." "Thank you," I said, and sprinted in the direction of the snack machine. I rounded the corner and felt it. A charge in the air, like lightning was about to strike. I skidded to a halt. In a rush, the memory of seeing that man fold up at the fair came back. And just like then, a wickedly bright vertical line appeared, hanging in midair. Gloria was just beyond, kneeling with her back to me, getting something out of the machine. The light shimmered and faded. Gloria stood, turned, and saw me. She grinned, waved. "Peter!" She started toward me with a grin on her face. She was going to walk into that, whatever it was. This time it wasn't going to be a stranger who disappeared. It was going to be Gloria. She was going to disappear from my life, from the whole world, forever. I couldn't let that happen. I charged toward her. Gloria misinterpreted what I was doing. Laughing, she dropped her carry-on, opened her arms, and rushed towards me. I tried to yell, "Stop!" but I fumbled and went flying forward, sure I was going to slam into her. Instead, I hit something cold, solid, and invisible. In that brief instant, I saw Gloria's expression change from delight to terror. Dun dun dun. Woo! What an ending.
I know. All right, so right off, I'll start. Right off, I was pulled in right away. Because
Yes.
here you have this little kid at a fair, and he sees this whole thing happen with the folding man and so forth, and I love stories like that. So I wanted to keep reading because of that, because there was some mystery going on, and then some romance with the Peter when he's older and his girlfriend. I did feel, though, that a lot of the language could be tightened up. I found myself rewriting a lot of different sentences where I thought that some words were used twice very close to each other.
Yes,
I thought
I saw that too.
I think that there are better verbs for a lot of what went on there. And so I think with tightening it up and making it shorter, because you're keeping it into a short story, that I wanted to hear more of Peter's voice. So I didn't, even though I knew who he was, maybe when he's with his girlfriend, they can talk longer on the blanket. Before she comes back, they're not talking to each other as much because she's too busy, so is he anticipating it more? And I don't know. I didn't get enough of a sense of that, and I thought that could have been done a little bit, just more in depth.
Yeah, I have to say, it's an interesting situation with these things appearing, and why is this kid seeing them, and do they have to do with him, or what the deal is? But I feel like we're held at arm's length from these things by all the explanations. Oh my gosh, there are so many explanations of this was happening, and
Like
this
the
was
pineapple
happening,
gum.
and this was. It's like, on some of these pages, it's like there's too much explanation. And I find, well, in the first part, I felt like it would be better described from a 6-year-old point of view, using 6-year-old language, and actually give us what he's saying.
Yes.
I wrote
you
that
know?
too.
I mean, they're not telling us what the kid says or doing, and it's like that's the thing. And then when it gets into high school, have a scene, okay? They were on this blanket on Boston Common. They have this conversation, and okay, that's a scene, but it's like that's glossed over. And then when they're at the airport, I mean, the chronology. It's not chronological. I mean, it should start out, I was planning on having a dinner with Gloria, so I didn't eat anything. I went to the airport, and then, chronologically, what is actually happening here? Build it up. Don't give us all of this extra, the last letter had been a hasty note, I went looking for a snack machine.
I agree.
The woman at the thing, it's like, tell us the story, dude, know?
This has all the trappings of a good idea without an ending.
Well, I don't think it's the ending.
No,
This isn't the ending.
No, this isn't the
I understand,
ending.
but I don't think he knows what the ending is. I think he's written a wonderful opening, and it's very engaging.
Yes.
And I can get involved in that. For 3 pages, we get filler on a relationship that has nothing to do with the premise of the story, which is the folding mystery thing.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a sense of loss when she disappears, but that could be done in a paragraph or 2. I think, I like your idea of showing their relationship on the blanket at the Common before she leaves, and we know that there's a very close relationship. The rest of it is just, tell a story, dude.
Right, so to that point, even if you look at the very first paragraph, where he's at the fair, and then he says, then the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. So before you even say that, give us a better sense of setting. Maybe
Right.
this kid is eating,
It's not
what is it
chronological.
called? What's the stuff that's really
Oh,
filthy?
cotton candy?
Yes,
Cotton candy.
so he's eating cotton
She's
candy.
very
so
health conscious.
you could-
Cotton candy, we call it.
I know.
Comes in pink and blue. I
So,
don't know
he's
if
eating that, and he's looking at the Ferris wheel, so that whatever's going on, we get a sense of niceness and peacefulness going on. And then, whammo, something happens, so you have a whole scene there.
I agree with you.
It
I
should
said
be shocking.
Right.
They should, calm, casual, walking, having fun, bang!
Yes.
You hear the music in the background if it's a scene in a movie. It should
Right.
be instantaneous and terrifying.
Right, there's the
Yes.
sizzling of this thing
Yes.
coming
I
down.
said that too. I said paint a picture to juxtapose the next thought. Because we need more about cotton candy, we need more about balloons, the blue sky day. Give us more of his activities or his conversation, as you said, Ed, with his parents. And it says, then the hairs. I thought, then suddenly we need
Right.
something powerful and a new
Yeah.
paragraph for sure. That can't be buried.
Never say and
within
then
that
suddenly.
paragraph.
Yeah,
Right.
suddenly,
Yeah.
I always cross with the word
Cross it,
suddenly.
yeah.
You never
Really?
need,
Oh,
you never
no.
need the word suddenly.
Suddenly's my
I
middle
think
name.
99%
All right,
of the
good to
time I
know.
take it out.
And I'm wondering why Dad is not equally concerned. Mom is crouching down next to him, chatting with him. Dad is angry, annoyed.
Even so, give us the language.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
What do you, what's
Yes.
with you,
Have done, yeah.
why.
Right.
Have them-
Grumpy old
yeah,
dad.
Trying to
Yeah.
explain, a
I
6-year-old
can do
trying to
that.
explain a
That's
disappearing
right.
individual.
Yes. Well, speaking of language, I felt as I read this, I liked the beginning, I was totally drawn into it, but then when we shift to 1980, it seems like it's a different writing style. Totally different writing style. Yes, we need more details here about the boy's childhood, we need it from a child's perspective, but I still thought there's some tone to it that differs from the very choppy, black and white, choppy is not the right word, matter of fact, perhaps, language of the next bit. And then a few too many details. I thought he should leave to go to the snack machine, or he should leave to go to the bathroom. I much prefer the snack machine, but cut out that whole bathroom trip.
Why does it,
Actually,
why does that
need
have to
that.
be there at all?
Don't need that at
Right.
all.
Go there and pick her
It's
up and she
extraneous.
disappears.
It's
And
extraneous.
to bring up voice
Yeah.
on that too, if he did leave the bathroom thing,
Yes.
and I agree he should take it out, but
Yes.
I suddenly realized I needed to use the facilities. No
Yes.
guy thinks
What?
the facilities. He
No.
thinks I had to run to the John,
Yeah.
or I had to
And
go
then-
to the
and
Ted.
the
like the
Yes.
setup.
Yes.
And like, why is it there?
Yes.
Right.
Why can't she just be walking towards him?
Exactly.
Oh!
It's filler.
Right.
It's all
Because then
filler.
there are witnesses, but they were at the fair.
So what
I
about-
think he wants her down
Yeah.
down the hallway.
He's the only
quiet,
one who
to
can
goodness.
see this.
Exactly.
Well, I think there's confusion too,
Yes.
because you guys all think she disappeared, but I
No,
think
no,
he disappeared.
No, I
Oh,
said
he
clever
does
switch at the
disappear.
end.
Yeah,
It is
he disappeared.
He's the one. He
Oh, is
ran
he the one who
toward her.
disappeared?
Yes, and he hit the wall.
I think he
Yes.
did, yeah.
He does.
So there's not clarity there, obviously, because we are.
Oh.
Oh, no, no,
Well,
I saw
probably if you
that.
kept reading, I think there'd be clarity.
I
but
thought she was
just
the one
from
who
that-
I don't think it's clear who disappeared.
Oh, yes, yeah,
I
he
think
went
he
flying
just
forward and
disappeared.
he slammed, yes.
Yeah, he
Hit
slammed
some-
into
he said
something.
he's something cold, invisible.
Yeah.
He does.
And
But
he saw her face go from delight, oh, my honey,
Maybe
to
she
terror, like,
disappeared.
oh my God.
No, I think
No,
he
no, he's
disappears.
disappearing.
Because I.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
I'm totally confused.
No,
But
no,
then
to write it, you have to clarify who disappeared.
But then where do you go with that? Because do we go into the nether region?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Or does he die and we carry on with Gloria?
Yeah.
Where does
We
the
don't
story
know
go
yet.
with that? I'm curious.
And so I died.
Yeah.
Well, should it be third
Yeah.
person then? Do we
The end.
change it to third person instead of first person singular? Was my
No,
question.
I don't know the ending,
To
and
the
nor
author.
do I think the author does, because he's taken to us a very interesting place without conclusion.
Yeah.
If
the
it's
airport? Where'd the
if it's a
airport be?
short story,
Well, we don't know. This isn't the end of the story.
I understand, but
Right.
if it's a
Right.
short story,
Yes.
I know we already said that. Sorry.
every word should mean something, should carry weight. It's like a
Yes.
poem. It's tougher to write a short story than it is to write a novel.
I
Every
agree.
word, every sentence has to carry its own freight, and this
Yes.
Well, and to
loses
that-
mushy.
And even when I talked before about tightening sentences, even if you look at the second page where it switches to summer of 1980 with Dale, with a sentence, the summer of 1980, Dale, my best friend, and then the next paragraph says, oh no, it's right before that. The only person who believed me was Dale, my best friend. And
Yes.
2 lines later, the summer of 1980, Dale, my best friend. So when you're rereading your material, even before anyone else reads it, those are the types of things
Dale, my
that
best
you want to
friend,
look
Dale, my
for.
best
Yeah,
friend.
you gotta watch the
Right.
word
Well,
echo.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that-
the word
Right.
echo.
There was a sequence that I didn't understand. It said, the only
Page.
person who, this is page 2.
Thank you.
Halfway down, literally halfway down. The only person who believed me was Dale, my best friend. I gave up. Well,
Yes.
you've got somebody why can't you have a discussion
Sorry.
with
Yes.
Dale?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, he's
Why
convinced
not have that
someone.
scene?
Yeah.
Why did you
Yes.
give up?
Dialogue, yes.
The reason he gave up is because Dale believed him?
Dale wasn't good enough, I guess.
Maybe that's it, he's useless. Dump
Oh,
Dale.
Dale's the wingman.
Yeah, so it
I
doesn't
don't
follow.
like Dale as a name. I mean,
Dale-
We
Well,
only
it's
kill with
ambiguous
Dale.
if it's a boy or a girl.
And Dale.
Oh, it is?
Oh,
I thought
Dale
it was a
Evans,
boy's
right.
name.
Well, most often.
Dale
But you're
Evans.
right, you're right.
No.
You're
I
right.
rest my case.
I thought
Yeah,
that, I
I'm
like
holding
the
up the
premise.
yellow
yeah.
card. Okay, enough piling on
Yeah,
here.
okay.
Yes.
There are
Yeah.
problems with the story. The premise is fascinating, but there's no conclusion. Next time, I throw down the gauntlet, next time come in with the whole story. And then we can more easily justify our
See it in
comments.
its
Yeah.
entirety.
Yes.
Yes.
If it's,
Except there's a
Not too
limit.
long, yeah.
Okay,
Right,
yeah, the
right.
yellow card has been thrown.
yeah,
But
and
No
it
I
is-
mean,
no
gone
more
last
piling
No, I
on.
agree. It's
Almost
a fascinating premise, but
yeah.
Go with it.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
original.
Take me
It
home.
certainly is.
Yes.
We'll take you to the crack in the
I
sky.
want to know what's on the other side. I mean,
We'll
that's an
send you-
interesting idea.
I do too.
yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
through,
love
go to
that.
go to the
I
other
could
side.
picture the whole thing
Yeah.
happening. I
Yes.
just thought it wasn't me.
And is it hell
Yeah.
over there, or Nirvana, or what's going on?
That's a good point, because I would never think it was good.
Hell
But
slash
maybe it
Nirvana.
is.
Maybe
Yes.
wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Stepford. That's where Stepford is, Dave.
Oh.
Stepford wives.
Oh, my God.
Or is there anyone
No.
else, anything else to add?
I think I liked it more than the rest of you.
Oh, I did like it, I just
Oh.
think it needs
I
all
did
those other things
appreciate
we
it.
talked
I
about.
thought the language was good. I mean, I think the writer, has obviously, has experience writing, so,
Yes.
there were a couple of word choices, and I agree, there's some stuff that's extraneous, like he doesn't have to go to the bathroom, what's the deal with the vending machine? Some stuff can be taken out, but I thought it flowed well, and I thought, but I agree that there does need to be more scene, there is a lot of telling and not enough showing, so do
Right.
these things in scenes, but I think that's probably easily fixed.
Good, I take a point, yes.
Well, thank you very much to the writer for submitting this work. We hope you got a lot out of this session. And thank you everyone else for watching. We will see you the next time on Writers Infusion. Keep writing.
That is a good point about a bad world or a good world. What's beyond the crack?
I
That's
know, it
interesting.
is.
Well,
Well, no,
Just
it's
stick with me.
connected.
Just stick with me.
Curmudgeonly, yes.
Has anyone ever done that?
See,
That
I
was
did-
better on the other side?
I assumed that the it was
No, I'm
the
giving away a
girlfriend who
great
left.
idea for.
Are there stories
Right.
out? I'm sure there are.
I assumed it was the girlfriend
I just
who
read a
disappeared.
story.
I
I
assumed it was
know.
the
No,
The guy.
Peter, yeah.
Yeah.
What did I
Because
do?
her face goes from
I
delight
know.
to terror.
But seriously, who has written
If
it
the-
where it's better on the other
Okay,
side?
so
There
wait,
must be
wait a
some.
minute, back up a
Yeah, you
step.
hit something.
If the girlfriend doesn't disappear, what do we need the girlfriend for?
Oh.
Well, because it's
What's the point
freaking,
of her?
Because he's in a
what's the point of
public
her being in
place
the
like the
story?
fair and
He
because-
runs
What if
into
she
it to
just-
save her.
well, because now you have someone who has seen it happen. So that could bring something.
That she's seen him.
She is a witness to what happened to him.
Someone else is.
Oh,
Yeah, but the
oh,
story is from
that's
his
so true.
point of view.
If we're with him, then she's gonna be
This
on the
is-
other side.
Yeah, exactly.
So
We
maybe
wanna
it should
see
be
what
third
her
person,
reaction
not
is.
first
Well, now you have
Maybe
someone
she's
on both
instrumental
sides.
looking for him, maybe, looking for him, maybe.
Yeah, now you have someone in both universes, him who gets stuck in the alternate reality, whatever that is, and she on the other side, maybe.
I
I'm
know where
really
he ends up.
confused.
He ends up
If he
in one of the,
disappears, I don't think you need her.
Wait,
No,
Dave
he
knows.
does
I know where he
disappear.
ends
Where?
up.
Where does
He
he end
ends up in the center of IKEA. And he can't
That's
get out.
on the floor.
You can't get out, it's
I have to
impossible.
say, I have to say.
It's an allegory.
You
for
can ask
IKEA.
people.
No, we have only
How do
been
I
there
get out
once.
of here?
You know
He
what
says,
happened?
"You
I don't know, I
don't.
just started
You
here.
never leave.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Stop and have some Swedish meatballs, you're here for life.
My husband, no, it's true, because my husband and I went to
That's
IKEA
great.
several years ago.
Yes.
We could not get out, and